what's going on, guys? Actually, ladies, this video is for you. I was working with a client today, and I want to share this because there's a lot of people in relationships who are having this specific problem. What this problem is that she used to be involved with somebody who she was absolutely head over heels in love with. And they had magical moments, times under the stars, whimsical, lovely times, right? Well, she's still with that guy, except things might as well be night and day, because now they get mad at each other quick. There's very little patience in the house. There's a lot of yelling. The talk is all about bills, all about the stresses of life, all the stuff that in a relationship, yes, it is a part of it, but you don't want it to be the focal point, right? And she feels almost as if the relationship, though she still loves him, she doesn't feel what she once did, and neither does he, and they kind of go their separate ways at night, and they don't kiss too much, the sex life isn't the best, and all that kinds of stuff that actually makes a relationship something that you want to stay in. So I want to share with you guys a little bit about what we talked about, and I'm not going to go too deep into the backstory, but that should give you an idea. So as she was describing this to me, she had a very hard edge in her voice, and she was very unhappy. She's describing all the things about him that piss her off, and why the fuck does he do this, and why does he do that, and da 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 da. Well, I stopped her at one point, and I said to her, I want her to describe to me, in as much detail as she can, I want her to describe when they first got together. What was it about this man that was so magical that you wanted to give yourself to him, that you wanted to have him in your life, be your partner? Because they've been together now for probably around 10 years or so. What is it about this guy that was so amazing to you? I want you to describe it to me and give me some specific moments from the past. So she stops. First she stops, now she has to think about it. Now remember, perception is when two people are sitting down watching a movie, one person thinks the movie's amazing, the other person thinks it's okay. They could take it or leave it. The perception is what's different about these two people. The movie doesn't change. So, her current perception of the relationship is that it sucks, and that we always fight, we always this, we always that. So, what her focus point is everything that reinforces that this relationship sucks. So, she stops, and she had to think for a moment. What she came out with was this. She told me a very short story about when they had first gotten together, this wonderful night when they spent under the stars, and she told me a little bit about the conversation and this, that, and the other, and I said, okay, can you tell me another one? But I want more detail. I want to know how he made you feel. I want to know how he touched you. I want to know how the butterflies felt in your stomach. I want to know who was there, what you were feeling. So she began to tell me another story. And it was about, their dog and going for hikes and, walking hand in hand and just getting lost in each other's eyes. And then she told me about some time when they were in a car, and they pulled over and they just started making out in the car, and she was describing this to me. She was getting deep into it. As she's describing all this stuff to me, and people were behind the car beeping, and they had to drive around, and they didn't care, because the only thing that mattered were those two people at that moment. They were all about each other. As she's describing this story to me, her voice began to soften, and she started to speak a little whimsically, a little softer, all about her. The reason this was going on is because our brains, which are absolutely amazing tools, but that's what they are. They're a tool. You have to learn to use it. Our brains, with everything that they can do, cannot differentiate what is real and what is false if it is experiencing it. Now, what I mean is this. Sometimes it's okay to bring up the past and to live in the past for a moment or so. I do talk a lot about living in the present, but there's a reason for this. With your mind, when you experience something and you remember something from your past that makes you angry, you begin to feel anger. Chemicals fire that make you angry. And you can literally want to rip this person's head off, whoever you're thinking about. When you start to think about things that were wonderful, the endorphins will fire. The serotonin levels may go up. There's a different chemical response within the body. So what I'm having her do is tell me about these times that were amazing to her. Now her brain is sitting there going, this is happening right now. So as she was talking to me about it, that's why her voice softened. That's why all the things started to come together for her and feel better. Now, at the end of it, I stopped her again and I said, do you realize how you're talking right now? Do you realize how much softer you've become? And I said, how do you feel right now? And she described to me that, she feels kind of good. She feels da-da-da-da-da. And I said, do you possibly feel like maybe you want to go give, your man a hug? Do you want to possibly give him a kiss? Do you want to go out and have another good time? And she's like, yeah, actually, I kind of do feel that way. Now, I mean, it wasn't a magical, she's 100%, yes, we're going to get married tomorrow and this kind of stuff. But what happened is a shift. And I said to her, I want her to do it 2 to 3 times a week, maybe Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays. I want her to sit down for 10 minutes, and I want her to visualize. And if she has pictures or any videos, I said, I want you to forget all about all the negativity, because overall they do have a good relationship. He treats her good. I mean, I wouldn't recommend doing this for a shitty relationship to keep you involved in that. But I said, get your pictures out, get your video out, and I want you to sit there and remember why you fell in love with this man. Or if you're a guy, why you fell in love with this girl. I want you to remember the good times. I want you to remember how much they supported you. I want you to realize that you would not be who you are today without that person being involved with you. And I said, do this 3 times a week, because what's going to happen is on those 3 times a week, your brain is going to think these times are taking place. And it's going to begin to rewire your brain to associate this man with happiness, with a perception of, I like being around him. I have patience for him. He has done so much for me in my life. He loves me to pieces. And you're going to want to start to spend time with that person again. You're going to go out and play laser tag or go bowling or go, play frisbee or do whatever. Because when you first got involved with him, what'd you want to do? Spend every waking moment with him. And you had your best foot forward, so you wanted to show how interesting you were. So you guys were going out and doing fun things. I said, as you rewire your brain, you're going to start to want to do those fun things again. I said, leave a note on the door, like that picture, husband, I'm hiding in the house somewhere with a Nerf gun. This is your gun. Leave a gun for him if you want at the door. Loser cooks dinner. Love wife, and like P.S. You're going down or something like that. That funny, happy-go-lucky stuff that you used to share when you were younger, because that's the stuff of why we get into relationships. You get into a relationship to enrich your life, not to make it more difficult, to have less stress because you have a teammate, somebody to enjoy with, someone to share in the goals that you conquer, and to enrich you. That's what a relationship's about. So why allow our relationships to be uncultivated and to fall into these like abysses where they're absolutely miserable? Obviously, that's not something that you want to let happen. So you have to treat a relationship like a plant. It has to be cultivated every day. It has to be watered every day. Just do something or remind yourself why you're thankful for this guy. So the only other part of the advice that I gave her, just in terms of this one piece that we talked about, was for her to get the pictures out and such. And when he's sitting there watching TV or doing whatever it is that he's doing, for her to go over and don't even tell him what you're doing, just kind of like sit, with him and stuff, and just be like, baby, do you remember when we did da-da-da-da-da, like, check this out, I came across this picture, and like, just show him and start to rewire his mind, because in her words, she's a miserable bitch. So he probably associates his woman with being a miserable bitch. Now, he hasn't gone anywhere yet. That doesn't mean that he's not going to. So his mind has to be rewired just as much as her mind has to, because his association with her is that she's not fun, I don't want to be around her, and all this other stuff. So sit there, I said, have patience for him when stuff's going on in the house and when things are, not going the best. Sit down, remind yourself why you're with this person, and use this technique to reinforce to your mind that these good times are going on right now. Because by doing so, your mind will start to associate, like I said, these good times, and you'll start to actually have more good times. Because by associating this person I have good times with, you will then go and do that and have those good times and want to be around that person. So I think I just like repeating myself twice, so I apologize. But anyways, when she's showing him the pictures, just get into these lighthearted is the key word, lighthearted stories about fun and adventure that you guys used to share, and then be like, babe, do you want to go apple picking, or do you want to, do whatever. I said, start slow. The rewiring of the relationship is going to take some time. So now the reason that this technique works is because we are emotional creatures. Whether you're a man or a woman, you are an emotional creature. We're driven by two things. Humans are driven all essentially by two things: the emotions associated with pain and the emotions associated with pleasure. We are motivated by running away from pain and running towards pleasure. So what happens is that the more that you associate pain with the relationship, and sadness and fighting and anger and all this kinds of stuff, the more that you're going to run away from it, the more that you're going to box yourself into going off and playing video games for hours, or getting lost in TV shows, or going out with your friends instead of spending time with your spouse, right? And the more pleasure you're going to associate with things like leaving the relationship, or having an affair, or anything else that is not going to help the relationship to actually regrow and rekindle what you guys once had. That's why this works. It rewires the associative properties of the pain versus pleasure within the relationship. It starts to eradicate the painful feelings because your mind is thinking about all of these good times, and it reinforces the pleasure aspects because your mind again is focusing on the pleasurable sides of it. But anyways, I just want to share that with you guys because I do see a lot of relationships crumble for this exact reason, because we focus on the present and how much our lives have degraded into just worrying about the bills and worrying about everything that you didn't when you first met the person, because you wanted to just have fun when you first met this person. Well, remember, you're involved with this person both for support, both for enrichment of the life, but to have fun with them. It's a teammate in life, so go play the game. Anyways, thanks for watching. If you like this kind of content, subscribe, like the video, spread it around to anybody who needs to hear this kind of stuff. And if you ever want to chat one-on-one with me, shoot me a message, because this is what I do. Thanks a lot for watching.